Damn, Drew, you got another one.
Probably been breaking your brain trying to figure out how do I become a successful barber. But I promise you, if you focus on these 5 key areas, then you'll be able to build a successful barbering business in your city. So if you want to learn how to build a successful barbering business, especially if you're a beginner or from scratch, then you're in luck because I'm about to get into it right now.
Damn, Drew, you got another one.
Welcome to That's a Bet podcast, where we talk about the intersection of barbering, entrepreneurship, and technology. If it's your first time to the channel, I'm Lamont, and over the past 15 years, I've been a licensed barber, barber instructor, former shop owner, and a barber coach. I have 3 amazing children, and we've all recently moved from the state of Ohio to Georgia. But if you could believe it, before I moved to the state of Georgia, I was making over 100K per year in my barbering business, and it wasn't because of luck. It wasn't because I was the best hair cutter in the city. It was because I had a system and a structure that most barbers don't focus on, especially if you're a new barber or trying to make the transition from employee to self-employment. Now, many of you are probably transitioning from an employee to self-employment, or from barber college into a barber shop, or perhaps even a barber shop into a private salon suite. And you've probably been breaking your brain trying to figure out how do I become a successful barber. But I promise you, if you focus on these 5 key areas, then you'll be able to build a successful barbering business in your city. So if you want to learn how to build a successful barbering business, especially if you're a beginner or from scratch, then you're in luck because I'm about to get into it right now. Okay, so the first area that we're going to talk about is generating customers. Now, I know that that might seem like it's a common area to focus on. However, it's very important, especially if you're coming from an employee into self-employment, that you focus on shifting your mindset. And the reason why I say focus on shifting your mindset is because most people, before they become a barber, they've worked at jobs and they've served as employees. Now, when you become a barber, in most cases, you're going to be self-employed. The difference between being an employee and a self-employed person is a whole different mindset. For example, employees have the work brought to them. So when you go to work and you clock in, your employer, they're training you how to do the work. They're telling you what to do. They're telling you how to do it. And all you have to do is follow the directions and you'll be able to be efficient at the job that they give you. However, when you're a self-employed barber, there's no one that's actually bringing the work to you. So you have to go and get the work. You have to teach yourself how to perform your job. And if you don't do a good job at that, then you won't be able to become a successful barber. So the main thing that you want to focus on is the awareness that you have to shift your mindset from employee to self-employment. You have to make sure that when you get up and you go into the shop for the day, that you say to yourself, the work is not coming to me. I have to go and get the work. If you focus on going to get the work, you'll be a lot more successful than sitting there and waiting for the work to come in. Say, for example, if you're waiting for walk-ins to come into the shop, that may not happen. Now, speaking of walk-ins, you want to make sure that you don't build your business solely on walk-ins. There's no guarantee that people are going to walk into your barbershop. If people do walk into your barbershop, it's literally just icing on the cake, no diddy. Make sure that you have a solid plan on going out and getting people to know who you are, to come into your business, so that way you're able to stay fully booked. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you don't just spend a lot of time sitting in the barbershop doing nothing. You have to remember you're self-employed now. So you have to give yourself work to do because you're not going to have a boss giving you the work to do. If you find yourself with downtime and there's nobody sitting in your chair right now, and you know 20-30 minutes has gone by and nobody's walked into the barber shop, you have to take accountability and make sure that you give yourself something constructive to do. When I was in that position, if I sat in the barber shop for 30 to 45 minutes and I wasn't working and I didn't have any walk-ins come in, I would literally go out in the area and start passing out business cards, start passing out flyers, maybe even doing some door hangers. But now today, it's a little bit different. Everything is digital. So today, I might actually try to make some content and post on social media so that more people begin to know who I am and know where I'm located at so that they can come into the shop. So there's a mind shift that has to take place if you want to be successful at being self-employed as a barber. The second area that we're going to focus on is managing clients. Now, when it comes to managing clients, you want to train your clients to book appointments with you. And you can't do both. I've always seen barbers who try to do walk-ins and do appointments, and it becomes a headache because on one hand, you're trying to satisfy the people that are just walking in. However, they may walk in 15 minutes, 10 minutes before you have an appointment, and now you possibly might run late for your appointment if you decide to take the walk in, or you may have an appointment and you may have another appointment right after that, and a walk in comes in and they want to try to get in between, and it just doesn't work out. It's so messy. So you want to make sure you try to set up a system to where all of your clients are booking appointments. Now, I know that sometimes barbers say they have clients that are older and they don't want to book online appointments. But to be honest, that's all changed over the years, and appointment booking platforms have really gotten easy. And one thing that you can actually do is when your client is sitting in a chair, you can pull out your phone, or you can have your client pull out their phone, and you can educate them and train them literally while they're in the chair how to book an appointment with you. So you just pull up the phone, go to the app, go to the website, whatever booking app you're using, have them go through the process to see how easy it is. And I promise you, once they do it once, they'll be able to say, this is easy, I can do it. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that you're providing good customer service. I speak to a lot of customers and a lot of barbers, and one of the biggest things that I hear is that barbers lack in the area of professionalism and customer service. So, a one way for you to stand out if you want to become a successful barber is to offer good customer service. If you're offering good customer service on top of the haircut, that customer is going to remember you for an experience. If you're running on time and not running late for your appointments, that customer is going to remember you for a good experience. If you make sure that you have good breath and make sure that you don't smell like anything. I know a lot of barbers like to smell like things. I'm not going to say what it is, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But if you don't do those things, then you offer the customer a good experience. And by offering these good experiences on top of the haircut, one thing that you'll be able to do is ask for reviews. And once they give you a review, that will serve as social proof, allowing other customers to learn about your business, have people that are validating you, and then they'll actually come in and want to sit in your chair and get that same good experience. Another way to make sure that you're managing your clients is to make sure that you're communicating with them in between the haircut. Now, I know that a lot of people don't talk about this, but if you're managing your clients by speaking with them in between the haircuts through text message, through emails, through DMs, or even a private community that you may have, it's going to go a long way to building a solid connection and a solid relationship to make sure that that customer is coming back to you for a lifetime. If you make sure that you're communicating with your customer in between the haircut, you're going to always be on the top of their mind when it comes to their next haircut booking. So I really want to encourage you guys to make sure that you're reaching out to your customers through some type of email, text message. If there's something that you want to communicate to your customers about your business, whether your hours may be changing, if you're having a promotion, if there's something going on at the barbershop and you just want to make them aware, make sure that you have that good communication so that they'll know what to expect when they come into the barbershop. The third area that we're going to focus on are tools and supplies. I always like to say cutting hair is more fun when your clippers are on point. There's nothing like trying to cut hair with clippers that are dull, with blades that don't work, with blades that are over gapped and they might be cutting on the customer and scratching the customer. The customer is moving and doing all these crazy weird things. Make sure that your tools and supplies are on point, especially your clippers, your edgers, so that they're crispy, so that you always get that nice action when you're cutting on your client, that nice crispy line. There's nothing more worse than having bad clippers and bad shears and bad razors. You also want to make sure that you never run out of your supplies, especially your cleaning supplies, your sprays. You want to make sure that you're always spraying your clippers and your utensils in front of the customer. I like to clean them off and dust them off after every client and spray them down. But when the next client sits in a chair, I'll spray them down again just so that they can see that I'm actually a barber that takes care of his tools, cleans them, make sure that they're disinfected, and I never want to run out of supplies. Make sure that you got plenty of neck strips on your back bar. Make sure that you have your shampoos, your conditioners, everything that you're going to need to service a client, because there's nothing like a client booking a service and you don't have all the supplies that you need in order to complete the service. You also want to make sure that you have retail to offer to your clients. When I say retail, I mean hair care products, things that they can use in between services to maintain the look that you give them. If you're using any products in your customer's hair after that you get done cutting their hair for styling, make sure that you have something that you can sell to them so that when they go home they're able to still get the same look. Clients hate when they get a good haircut in the barbershop and then 2 days later it doesn't look the same, and it's primarily because they don't have the same knowledge that we have, or they don't have access to the same products we have. A lot of clients always ask me, hey, where can I get that product at? Or do they have that on Amazon? You want to make sure that if they're asking these things, you try to provide them at the barbershop to give a total experience. So make sure that your tools and supplies are always on point. The fourth thing that we're focusing on is our financial responsibility. We want to make sure that we track all of our income and expenses. Now, I know that once you go from being an employee to going to self-employment, there might be some things that you have to focus on that you didn't have to when you were an employee. Tracking your income and expenses is probably going to be one of those things. The reason why I say this is because you want to be able to monitor all the income and the expenses that are going in and out of your business, primarily because of tax purposes. At the end of the year, you're going to be able to deduct all of your expenses from your income so that you'll be able to maximize your tax savings and your tax credits and your write-offs. But if you're not tracking these things, it's going to be very hard for you to determine what you're spending and how much you're making. I remember a long time ago when I first became a barber, we used to just accept cash. And at the end of the day, we had this wad of cash in our pockets, but we didn't really know how much we were making because we were not tracking everything. So thankfully, if you guys are not using an appointment booking app right now, you can use an appointment booking app to track all that income for you. Sometimes they provide you with nice reports, and all you have to do is just download the report. It'll track your income, and then make sure that you're tracking all your expenses. Try not to use cash if you can, try to make sure that you use a debit card so that all those expenses are tracked on your bank statement and you can easily just do the math. You want to make sure that you are reporting accurately on your taxes. I know that a lot of times, especially back in the day, this used to be a cash business, but a lot of times barbers used to try to make sure that they don't have to pay taxes by not reporting their income. That actually works against you, especially if you're trying to do things like get an apartment, or if you're trying to get a vehicle financed, if you're trying to purchase a home, basically any way that you have to verify income to qualify for something. If you're not filing your taxes properly or accurately, then they won't think that you're making any money. I always recommend, I'm not a tax professional, but I always recommend that you report everything accurately so that you'll be able to qualify for things that you want to qualify for in the future. And if you decide to apply for any business loans, they'll see that you're actually making money based on what you're reporting on your taxes. The third thing about financial responsibility is that you want to make sure that you're investing back into the business. The money that you're making, your tools and supplies are going to get wear and tear. Your barber chair is going to have wear and tear. Different things on your back bar might get wear and tear. And you want to make sure that you're setting money aside in order to invest back into the business so that you can keep this train going. If you keep spending the money that you're making and you're not putting anything back into the business, eventually one day you're going to have a broken pair of clippers and not enough money to purchase new clippers. You're going to need some blades. You're going to need a new barber chair, anything that you may need for your business and you may not have the money for it. So make sure that you're setting money aside in savings so that you can put that money back into your business when you need to do that. One thing that I've also recently encouraged barbers to do is to focus on learning about business credit. A lot of the appointment booking tools and payment softwares that we use to accept payments, they allow us to tap into business credit. If you need to acquire a business loan, if you need to acquire financing for your barbershop or for new equipment, a lot of the times you can do what's called a merchant cash advance without any personal credit check, just strictly based on your business credit if you're accepting payments through an online payment processor. I've used payment processors such as Square, PayPal, Stripe, and maybe there's another one in there. However, learning more about business credit can give you an advantage, especially if you're trying to get access to capital to build your barbering business. If you like that, there's more where that comes from, and I'm going to get into that. But before I do, comment down below in the comments and let me know which area of focus do you like the best so far. Which one are you guys going to focus on? The fifth and final area to focus on to become a successful barber is building a brand. Now, when you build your brand, you want to make sure that you're creating a name for yourself so that people can recognize you. You want to have a name that represents who you are, and you want to make sure that you have a logo, make sure that you have brand colors, and make sure that people really understand that that's what you are known for in your community. If you don't have a website, I would highly recommend that you create a website, making sure that you include your brand on your website, your marketing materials. You can also get merchandise if you want to get t-shirts and apparel and hats and different things that you can put your logo on. That's going to go a long way to making sure that your customers know more about your brand and what you actually stand for. Another thing that you can do is you can actually host or sponsor events. A lot of times people come into your barbershop from the community and they might be hosting an event and they could possibly be asking for sponsorships. That way you can get your brand out there. And if you have a logo, people will see your logo and become even more familiar with your business. A lot of times we do events like back to school haircuts or Cuts and Conversations, where we hold conversations with young men around haircuts for mentorship, and making sure that you're doing those events underneath your brand with your logo is going to be one way that you can get your brand out there and let the community know who you are and what you represent. Thanks for watching this video. Those are the 5 key areas to building a successful barber business. That's all the time that we have for today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe link. Or if you would like me to help you build your successful barber business, especially if you're a beginner, make sure you click the link in the description and we can help you become a successful barber in your city. Peace.